Well, guys, it is now 1 minute past 7. So we're going to go ahead, and we lost somebody. People are jumping out of the room. We haven't even got started yet. All right. So topics for tonight. So I've spoken to a couple of you over the weekend, and a lot of you are struggling with, like, how do you talk to your family? How do you talk to your kids? You don't want anybody to know about this because you're embarrassed. You don't want your friends and family to know because you don't know how to explain it to them. There's all kinds of thoughts that are running through your mind. So we've really got to start breaking this down on how you're going to explain this to people. And hello, Leah, and hello, Pond2122. Good to see you guys. Glad you could join. So, all right, guys. So in Rdap, you've got something called the 8 attitudes to change. And you got to have all this stuff memorized. And at first, it just becomes verbiage that you got to remember in order to get through the program. So you're not really focused on, like, what the meaning of it behind it is or how important it is to you, at least not at first. But the more they ingrain this stuff into you and you start seeing how it applies to your life, you start breaking down these simple tools that we've all been taught since we were little kids, and you start reevaluating and you start going through like a re-education process. We spoke about this last week. You've got your education, the way we've all learned, and then you've got to sometimes re-educate because maybe somewhere you want to ride, you made some bad decisions. No one's perfect. Everyone's human. Todd Hansen is officially in the house. Can we have a moment of silence? All right, continuing. All right, welcome, Todd. All right, so what I was saying is the 8 attitudes to change. So your first attitude is gratitude. So let's kind of focus on gratitude for a minute. When everybody thinks of gratitude, and you don't need to type it into the comments. Edward's not in the bathroom tonight. All right, good to know, Edward. When you think of the word gratitude, what does that mean to you? To you personally, when you think of it, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Maybe just either write it down or stick it in your head and don't forget it. Gratitude. Take a moment and really, like, sit on that word for a second. It's such a simple word. We all know what it means. But what does it really mean? What is that really hardcore meaning of gratitude? What are you grateful for? Part of your day right now, for those of you that are either getting ready to face federal prison time or you've got a friend or a family member that's getting ready to face federal prison time, we all know how easy it is to be frustrated and dwelling on negativity. It's not always easy to find something to be grateful for. So when you can turn that mindset around and you can find something that you're grateful for, I guarantee you, multiple times a day, if you think hard enough, you can find things to have a lot of gratitude towards. What can you be grateful for? That you hear this in AA and NA and different 12-step programs all the time. I'm grateful for today, to be alive, something simple. But think of something substance. What are you grateful for today? Next time you catch yourself having a bad moment, a bad thought, an anxiety attack, stop and try to ask yourself, wait a minute. What was Dan talking about? Gratitude. What am I grateful for right now? Try to immediately stop in your tracks and change that thinking around into a positive focus, because I promise you that will help build momentum for the rest of your day. We're not talking about how to get through next week or next month or the next 17 years if you're Todd. We're talking about how to get through the next 30 seconds when you have a panic attack. We'll call them panic attacks, even though they're not necessarily panic attacks. Next time you have an attack where you're dwelling on something negative, try to find something that you can be grateful for in that moment. Everybody's got something. Forget about all the shit that you're not grateful for and all the stuff that's bogging you down and stressful. It's already there. Nothing you can do about it. What are you grateful for? So gratitude. If you have a pen and paper, it'd be an awesome time to go grab one if you don't have one. Something to write with, a little pad, a little paper. And I'm telling you guys, take some notes. I'm not here trying to bring you guys to school or nothing, but I'm telling you, this stuff is useful. And later on when you're watching these videos, maybe you'll watch this video again. I don't know. I probably won't, but I lie. I'm going to watch it all over again. If you write down some of these topics that we're talking about tonight, I promise you'll be able to use it in your everyday life if you choose to. Now, these are some tools that we can stick in our tool belt, but it's up to you to use it. So right now, gratitude is the first tool you're going to put in your tool belt. And what I'm asking you to do is next time you're having an attack of something negative, Stop and try to imagine what you can be grateful for at that moment. Think about it. Okay. Another big one. All right, guys, ready? Here's a huge tool. Oh, fuck, we all struggle with this one. Objectivity. Okay, objectivity. What does that mean? What does it mean to practice objectivity? So I want you guys to ask yourself that question. Do you struggle with objectivity, or are you Mr. Objectivity? Think about it for a second and think about what that means to you, and then we'll discuss it a little bit. And feel free, any of you guys, to chime in and put in your input on this. And don't worry, we'll get to a lot of your questions and answers tonight too, as we always do. This little process here should take 10 or 15 minutes, and then we can ramble for 2 hours about whatever. Alex, HH Go Crow. All right, we got Rdapper in the house. Alex knows what time it is. All right, Alex. So yes, HH Go Crow. That's an easy way to remember the 8 attitudes to change. What does that mean to you, Nan? Oh, you know what it means. That's the shortcut, so I don't forget it. So anyway, so objectivity. So I personally struggle with objectivity. And let's give you an example of what that means. So, all right, here we go. So there was a time when I was in federal prison, and we used to have a rec yard, right? We had a rec yard where we could go and work out. And certain times of the day, the rec yard would open up, and then certain times of the day, it would close. Now, most of us that use the rec yard on a regular basis, we would just wait second by second for the time the rec yard would open. Sometimes, right before the rec yard would open, you would get an announcement right before it opens, and it would say, until further notice, the compound is closed. The rec yard is closed. Holy shit, talk about letting the life out of the balloon, letting the air out of the balloon. I would immediately go, these mother effers, they're always trying to mess with us. They want to close the compound. They want to close the rec yard because they don't want us to go out there. There's no reason. They're just doing this to mess with us. I would automatically start jumping to all these conclusions, right? The reality is, objectively, I don't know why they closed the rec yard. There could be something going on out there. There could be not enough staff members. There could be a storm brewing off in the weather system that they know about that we don't know about. And the problem is because I don't know, and I start jumping to all these conclusions, all I'm doing is making myself angry and fueling this little fire that's burning inside of me. Instead of simply telling myself, wait a minute, they might have a valid reason. Maybe there's an issue going on that's outside of my knowledge. I can't get upset at this because it's so out of my control. So practicing objectivity makes you stop and think about a situation instead of just assuming. Somebody cuts you off on the interstate and you're like, this mother effer, I'm going to get him, I'm going to give him the finger. You're going to speed up to him, chase him down. Maybe he didn't mean to do it. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe he didn't see you. Maybe he is being a dick. But if you start using this objective way of thinking, you keep yourself out of hot water, because what's going to happen? You're going to speed up next to him. You're going to give him the finger. You're going to slam on the horn. Next thing you know, he pulls a gun and shoots you, or he's got a kid in the car and he freaks out and swerves and crashes. You know, who knows? All kinds of negative consequences could come from that. So by practicing objectivity, it doesn't mean you're not going to have these thoughts. But if you can immediately correct a bad thought with a tool like objectivity or gratitude, you can control these thoughts and slowly start reining them in. And slowly by slowly, these tools will become secondhand. You'll no longer have to think of, where's this tool? You'll know right where it is in a moment's notice. And you're like, boom, objectivity. I'm going to use that for this situation. So these are some great tools, guys, that apply to everyday real life situations. And I can't believe I'm sitting here saying this, because my first day in Rdap, I never would have believed I would be telling a bunch of strangers about objectivity and gratitude. So before we go on to the next tool, let's read some of these comments. That's open-mindedness, in my opinion. You are not absolutely sure what the legitimate reason is. Oops, Johnny, was the day when I was going to get removed. The key to having it removed. Okay. Nice to see more viewers. I agree. I agree with you. All right, guys. So it looks like we're getting some. I was there on Daryl Eves' live chat, first time watching. Great show. Oh, that's awesome. You saw Daryl Eves give me a shout out there. If you guys don't know who Daryl Eves is, He's like this awesome YouTuber that pretty much tells you anything and everything about YouTube. And he brought my channel up on the Daryl. I've got it on video, and I was quite excited. So it was pretty cool. DNA, Dan, just wondering what awards did you win out of interest? I was most improved class representative. I can't remember. I did win some stuff. Then I won that water bottle, the Rdap water bottle back there in the corner. I won the Rdap coffee cup back there in the corner, you know, stuff like that. I did get some awards, but all right. So moving right along. Now this is an easy one. Sounds easy, but it's not always easy. Caring. Caring is a great attitude to practice. And not just caring for how much money you have and caring, you know, of course you want to care about everything, but when you start caring for others the way you do yourself, and not from a point of view where it's like, oh, poor me, where you're trying to do like the Robin Hood syndrome, where, you know, caring is not going out and committing crimes and using those funds to take care of your family. That's not caring. That's you making yourself feel better about the shitty life that you are allowing yourself to live. Caring is doing stuff from your heart for the purpose of, because it's the right thing to do. So caring can sometimes be a struggle and sometimes be hard to do when you find yourself wanting to be frustrated with somebody. To show a caring moment with that person instead can go a long ways, whether it be with your children, with your parents. Like right now, a lot of you that are getting ready to go into the system, caring right now, a lot of you are in like self-pity mode. And I know not all of you are, and a lot of you are getting a lot better with it, and you're processing through it, and you're coming on here and you're opening up and you're seeing some different side and some different point of views of things. But showing caring to your friends and family right now that are going through this with you, and reminding your friends and family not to enable you. You don't need a pat on the back to be told it's going to be okay. You need a kick in the nuts, a punch in the face, or why did you do this? You know, they need to process too. Maybe they're holding back some feelings because they feel like you're going through enough, but meanwhile, they're building resentment slowly. So if you really care for these people, have an honest conversation with them. If you really care for your children, have an honest conversation with them. If you haven't told your children yet about your situation, now I get it if your kids are real super little, like 2, 3 years old, 4 years old, too young to comprehend. But if you've got children that are at a comprehending age where their minds are like sponges and they live on the internet and they're in that new world that the children are going into, you need to have this conversation with your children sooner than later, specifically with children, more than anybody else. Children may not really understand and comprehend what you tell them initially. You may sit down and say, you know, honey, baby, dear, little Mikey, little Bobby, little Jenny, whatever, however you address your children, and you tell them, you know, daddy messed up or mommy messed up and I'm gonna have to go away for a while and it's gonna not be a good place. It's where they send adults for timeout. You know, you have to have this conversation with them and slowly break it down to them. Obviously, if they're teenagers, you know, the conversation can be a little bit more direct. But if you're dealing with younger children that are comprehending that, you know, what police are and what crimes are and what criminals are, if you have this conversation too late, where it's almost time for you to go, and you don't give them enough time to process what you're telling them, they are going to process it at some point. And believe me when I tell you, you want to be around when they process this, because there's going to be a venting stage that they're going to need. And if you're not there, you don't know what they might go do to process this. They can process this with drugs. They can process this with sex. I know that sounds horrible, but it's happened where they freak out and they want to get out of their skin so bad that they turn their mind off and they start acting out. So if you do this early enough and you have the conversation with them and then leave it up to them to bring it up to you, but don't hide from it. Don't pretend like it doesn't exist. Put it in their face. Let them know what's going on. You need to have the conversation with your friends and your family. It's important to not be ashamed. It's okay to you know, what you did was wrong, but to sit there and hide from it and to be ashamed from it because you don't want other people to know, they're going to find out at some point. Wouldn't you rather them know from you than to hear from on the news or from a person that's going to go gossip around the corner and tell a whole nother version of that story that doesn't even exist, guys? So take the time, show some caring, and tell your friends and family, and especially your children. Look, if this is you, don't let it be you. I met so many dudes in prison that told their kids they were either going to school or going to the military. Don't do that. Don't do it, okay? Just don't do it. It's wrong. It's super deceitful. It's lying. It's unethical. It's everything wrong there is wrong about it. And they will find out. They're going to know. You're going to talk to them on the phone. They're going to hear that recording. This message is from a federal prison. Comes on every couple of minutes during the call. I promise you, however crazy the conversation you think it's going to go, if it's within your power to tell them, tell them. All right. Open-mindedness. All right, where we were talking, let's see here. Somebody was correcting me and saying I was using open-mindedness with objectivity. Open-minded, see, objectivity is dealing with facts that you don't know. If you're being objective, you're focusing on the facts. So when I brought up the whole concept of the rec yard is closed, I don't know why. So I have to be objective to the fact that I don't know why, right? I don't know all the facts, so I'd be wrong to jump to a conclusion on as to why the rec yard was closed. Using open-mindedness would be if they just told me, hey, I'm open-minded to listening to what you're saying. When you see two people start to get into an argument, usually what happens is this open-mindedness starts to go out of the window. If I'm telling you something that you don't agree with, whether you know it to be true or false, or if you don't know it to be true or false, we have different opinions on something, but because you don't want to hear my version, because you only want to hear yourself talk, you're refusing to be open-minded. And that creates a futile conversation where you can't go forward in a conversation. If you catch yourself having a conversation with somebody that is unwilling to be open-minded during a conversation, the best thing you can do is disengage and get out of that conversation, because now all you're doing is trying to force your opinion down their throat. And if they're refusing to be open-minded, you're now engaging in that same exercise where it's going to go absolutely nowhere. How many times have anybody had an argument with somebody where it goes absolutely nowhere, except both of you are exhausted and the argument's over and you're still thinking you're right and they're still thinking they're right? Nobody wants to bow out. Nobody wants to let everyone's ego has been affected. So if you can't be open-minded, and if you struggle with open-mindedness, you know that intense conversations are probably not your cup of tea if you're not able to see somebody else's point of view. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but you might be surprised on what you can learn from somebody if you're willing to swallow your pride, be objective, and be open-minded. Okay, guys? You follow me so far? Everybody got the idea of open-mindedness? We got Liam. I pray for all prisoners of the world. Prison system is to be healed and to learn to be delivered from harm and chaos during their confinement period. Amen to that. Amen to that. However, people in prison, the prison system can't fix you. You can fix yourself. Prison system can provide you tools and necessary steps and programs, but you've got to make those choices to better yourself. So as corrupt as the prison system may or may not be, I'm not here to say it is or it isn't. I think it's fair enough to say there's plenty of corruption in the world in all areas, not just the prison system. But it's also fair to say that we as people are human. We can make mistakes. Some mistakes are worse than others. Some mistakes have greater consequences than others. And we can't blame a system that has severe penalties because we got caught. Look, you still did what you did. You were still wrong in what you did. If you hadn't done what you did, regardless of how bad the penalties are, you wouldn't have been facing them because you wouldn't have gone down that road. There's plenty of people that do not make the mistakes that we make because they actually thought of the consequences. Even if they didn't think about going to prison, maybe they didn't need the consequence of prison to get them. Maybe their conscience got them first. The consequences for other people can be more dire in our own minds. So you really got to get control on focusing on consequences and doing the right thing because it's right, not just because someone's looking. The question is what are you doing when no one's looking? Willingness. Well, fuck. Willingness. What's willingness mean? Willingness, guys. What does willingness mean to you? What does it mean to you right now? And what is it going to mean to you in a year from now? So willingness to me, we'll talk about here and now and me. I'll make I statements for those of you that, because I don't want to sit here like I'm preaching, because trust me, I struggle with every single one of these, and I had some crazy stuff happen in my life in the last couple days, but we're going to save that for another video because I am not yet ready to process what just happened in my life. But however, all of these attitudes definitely affect my life. We're going to get to criminal lifestyles, Alex. Relax. Relax. Criminal lifestyles is for another night, my man. We got to ease everybody in, okay? We got to ease them through the door. We don't want to scare everybody away. So anyway, so willingness. Willingness is a hard one for me because sometimes I am not willing to admit when I make a mistake, and I'm not willing to admit when I'm wrong. Now, I struggle with that, and it's no longer in my blind, it's now in my open. I see it when I do it, and it frustrates me that I allow myself to willingly make a poor choice when I fucking knew better, and I still did it. That's what gets me. So that's what I know. It's a real struggle for me, and it's a real issue that I have to stay in control of. And by losing focus on these core principles, guys, it can really allow anybody to make a mistake and slip. So staying focused is huge. Alex, I got out of prison. Is that what you asked? When did you get out of prison? I got out of prison in 2015 of October 2015. So a little over a year ago. So willingness, you have to be willing to admit when you're wrong. You have to be willing to admit that you have things that are out of your control, that you have problems that you don't have in control. You have to be willing to admit that your thinking may not be perfect. You have to be willing to admit that you may be wrong. You have to be willing to admit that you can learn something from others. You have to be willing to admit that you don't have all of the answers. And sometimes that's hard to do. Those of us that have been in like sales positions, owners of companies, feeling like we had a sense of power, it's hard to be willing to admit that you're not the man, okay? You're getting ready to go to prison. So you have to be willing to accept that there's a lot yet to learn. You have to be willing to unlearn what you know and re-educate yourself with a lot of new information. Absorb it, guys. Absorb everything you learn. And just because somebody has less than you, or somebody doesn't look like you, or somebody can't speak perfectly, or they have issues where maybe spelling, grammar, they're not the smartest in the world when it comes to something certain, don't be surprised who you can learn from. So once you start turning off what you think you can learn from somebody, when you automatically judge that this person doesn't have anything to offer you because you're prejudging based on some kind of a cognitive issue, whether they're poor, they're not the right color, you're allowing yourself to an injustice because there's something that you might really learn from that person if you're just willing to do so. Might be the difference of being able to self-surrender. Absolutely. So responsibility, guys. Responsibility is another huge one. Taking responsibility is something that most of you are dealing with right now. You're learning to take responsibility for your actions. Taking responsibility means you can't blame a system, a person, a judge, a prosecutor, an attorney, a co-defendant, a snitch. You can't blame any of them for the situation you're in. Somebody told on you, okay, but you did it. We used to see this in Rdap all the time. Somebody's getting ready to do a pull-up. And let's say there's two enemies. Let's say me and Todd. Me and Todd hate each other. He's my arch nemesis, and we're in Rdap together. And I'm just waiting. I'm waiting in the shadows for Todd to slip up. 3 months in, finally I see Todd take a hit of a cigarette. I see him use a cell phone. I see him stealing some chicken out of the chow hall. I'm like, I got this dude. Next morning, anybody got any pull-ups? Mr. Wise. My name's Wise, Rdap, participant phase 3. This morning, I would like to pull Mr. Todd Hansen up. Please rise, Mr. Hansen. Mr. Hansen stands up, doesn't even know that I seen him. I was hiding in the dark. He doesn't even know what's coming. This morning, I'm pulling Mr. Todd Hansen up for struggling with responsibility. I saw him yesterday using a cell phone behind the racquetball courts. Mr. Hansen knows that it's irresponsible to be using a cell phone. They are not allowed in prison. It is considered contraband. It is a direct violation of this prison, and especially being an Rdap, Mr. Hansen. We hold ourselves to a much higher standard here in Rdap, and you're setting a horrible example for your peers, for others that are walking this compound. And if you can't control your thoughts right now, and you're allowing yourself to act on this impulsive behavior and be this irresponsible, how are you going to make it in the real world, Mr. Hansen? What I would like you to do for the next 3 weeks is I would like you to write 3 essays on why breaking these rules can cause problems for you in the future. I would also like you to go to 10 senior peers and ask them how this damaging behavior can affect you in the real world. That's all I got for you, Mr. Hansen. I'm highly disappointed. So everyone's like, wow, good pull up. Meanwhile, Todd Hansen's thinking, this guy only pulled me up because he hates me. He hates me. That's why he did it. So now Todd is avoiding responsibility because he knows me and him are beefing. So he's assuming that I only did that because I don't like him. Now let's say that was true. Let's say I hate Todd and I wanted to pull him up. Okay. But stick to the facts. Did Todd use the cell phone? He did. Okay. So it doesn't matter what my reason was. It doesn't matter what my purpose was. And those are my own demons I have to deal with. I wouldn't have been able to get Todd on that if he hadn't used the cell phone. So when Todd focuses and learns how to take responsibility, he's no longer focused on his anger for me for putting him on the spot. He now focuses his anger at himself for allowing himself to fall victim to not taking responsibility. And he learns from that mistake and he moves forward and doesn't make that mistake again. So guys, just because somebody tells on you who may like you or not like you, that has nothing to do with what you actually did. You made that choice to make that poor action that has got you into a situation you're in right now. It's nobody else's fault except your own. And when you can honestly take responsibility for that, you're able to lift this weight and move forward, because that's what this whole program is about. Not just Rdap, not just prison, but this reforming program of where we don't want to be the same people we are or we were later on in life. We should be constantly progressing, not regressing. Taking responsibility is the first step. Doesn't mean you're going to live a perfect life. Doesn't mean you're going to have mistakes. Trust me, guys. Mark today's date. When I tell you the mistake that I had in the last few days, it was a big one. It was a big one. Fuck. Can't talk about it right now, though. And too soon. But responsibility. You got to take responsibility. Can't blame others for your actions. Last but not least, where's your cat? My cat is, I don't know. My cat's somewhere around the house, Daniel. I will go find my cat to my dog here in a second. Einstein, Oliver. I'm sure somebody will come running. So, last but not least, guys, we have honesty. Honesty. So if you think about honesty, yeah, easy. Be honest, don't lie, right? Sounds easy. But honesty, guys, honesty is the foundation of change. If you plan on changing anything in your life, you have to be honest first. Honest about everything. You can't pick and choose what you're honest about, because then it's just more bullshit. Let people see the real you. Don't be a soap opera. Don't be an actor on TV, and then as soon as the cameras are off, you're somebody else. Be the same person you are when you're in front of a camera. If you go to counseling groups and you're talking there and you're putting on this dog and pony show because you have to go and you're saying what they want you to say, you're not doing yourself any good, okay? None. Because all you're doing is lying and manipulating and keeping it going. Use honesty. Break down and be honest with everything. I'm sure everybody in this room has something that they can go be honest about, that they haven't been honest with, a loved one, a spouse, a kid. Go be honest. Something that you haven't been completely forthcoming about, whether it be your crime or your case. Maybe you made it sound like, yeah, I'm in trouble, but I didn't really do it. You know, if you're playing that game, go be honest. Look, you did it, right? You did it. You did something. You did it. I did it. So I did it. Did you do it? And honesty doesn't mean that you're not going to have mistakes, doesn't mean that you're not going to catch yourself being dishonest. But the whole point of honesty is to put it in the forefront of your mind. So when you're not being honest, you immediately sense that ugliness, and it grabs at you to the point where you're like, I lied, I got to be honest. That's what happened to me the last couple of days. I did something and I was ashamed of it and I could not keep it from myself. And boom. That's your 8 attitudes to change, ladies and gentlemen. So now that we've covered that, guys, big announcement, big announcement, big announcement. Mark this on your calendars. March 23rd. Does anybody know what day that is? If anybody knows what day that is, feel free to post it in this chat room. March 23rd. March 23rd is Todd Hanson's sentencing, guys. That is the day that Todd Hanson will be sentenced, and a huge likelihood that he may be remanded at sentencing. So we all have to make sure we're putting good energy out there. Positive thoughts. Doesn't mean that we're being naive to the probability, but whatever happens, guys, we got to make sure Todd gets sent off with the understanding that, yes, you may get remanded that day, but we hope that you can leave with the strength and the knowledge to be able to deal with it. Same reason why I got into religion, not to get too caught off on religion and the Bible, but once religion hit me in prison, guys, when I found God in prison. Yes, that sounds so cliche, but it's true. I found God in prison, and when I realized what it actually meant to me was, just because I pray and put faith in God doesn't mean that he's going to, so to speak, fix my life. It doesn't mean he's going to change the flat tire on my car. It doesn't mean that he's going to make all my problems go away. What it means to me is he's going to give me the strength to be able to deal with whatever adversity comes my way. So that's the comfort that I take from religion. And whether you get that strength from religion, from self-help, from positive thinking, from videos like this, regardless of how you're getting it, it's important that you get it. So somebody like Todd Hanson that is getting ready to go get sentenced to potentially 17 plus years, give or take, it's super important that you walk in a state of mind that you're prepared to see the writing on the wall and prepared to know that whatever it is that's in front of you, you have harnessed the strength to get through it. If not, you're going to find yourself in darkness, in dwelling, in pity mode, and that can make an extremely long prison sentence for somebody that doesn't need to. So, Todd, you're not going to have these videos to go on every night. So you're going to have to start thinking about right now what is going to be your method for dealing with anxiety, depression. You don't want to medicate yourself up because that's only temporary. You want to be able to properly handle this, but you have to make sure you go in there with some strong fucking tools right now and start practicing them, whether it's going to be writing, using the email, using the phone, books. You know, you've already written some books, Todd. You're not even in prison yet. I think you said you got 3 books written already. That's huge. So I am a believer that Todd is going to get through this a better person. I'm also a believer that the reality is Todd's going to have some rough days in prison, but he's going to find a way to get through them. Short-term goals, guys, lead to long-term goals. You can't go into a 17-year prison sentence focused on 17 years later. You got to go into a 17-year prison sentence focused on 30-day increments. What are you going to do this 30 days? What's your plan for the next 30 days? What accomplishments would you like to have? And don't stop moving. Keep it going, keep it moving, and that's really the only thing that somebody like that can do. 17 years is a long time, and I see Todd's getting all kinds of support right now from. We've got people all over the place. I think I saw somebody in here from. Where did I just see you from? Got Denmark. We got Sharton. Denmark, I've been in prison. Does the American movie show any truth to every male inmate turning gay? Hold any truth, because that doesn't happen here. To answer your question, that there's no truth to every male inmate turning gay. In a federal prison system, the majority of the males, the gay males in the federal prison system, majority of them, from what I have seen, go in gay. So they're already gay. Now, I can't speak for somebody that's been down for 20 years, 30 years. I don't know if there's some kind of a psychological overtaking of your brain that changes your chemistry or changes your wiring. I don't know that to be for sure, or I can't really comment on that. But I've never met anybody in prison that was like, I came in and all of a sudden, next thing I knew, I was like, that guy's looking pretty good from a distance. I don't see that happening. I didn't see that happening. You know, I told you there was a couple times where I saw 4 feet in the shower at nighttime, going to use the bathroom. You see, you know, 4 feet in the shower. You just keep walking, mind your own business. But, you know, to each their own. I'm not there to love connection, install 3. Hey, more power to you. Just keep it install 3 and use bleach when you're done. Did I show you guys this picture already? If I did, I apologize. If not, well, here you guys can have a good little laugh. This is when I got to prison. This was the first picture I took with 2 dudes that I met that ended up becoming really good friends of mine while I was in prison. I was there maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks before I took this picture. So here you go. Enjoy. I'm the guy in the middle, in case you can't tell. Holy good God, what was up with that beard? They actually made me look through my beard when I got man, rough life. But yeah, that's how I self-surrendered. That's the look that I had. So interesting. You like that, Johnny? This is before rdapdan was born. That was scared shitless Dan, anxiety-ridden Dan. Definitely happy to say I'm not that man. The guy on the right seems like he's looking for his next meal. I'll tell you what, you're talking about this guy right here, right? That's Julio. His name is also Dan. Julio has about 17 years left. And before I left, that guy lost all of that weight. I'm telling you, he wasn't quite, I would say he was about 80% more in shape than he was right there. This man handball became like his cardio, his everything. He started running the track. He started getting into push-ups and dips and pull-ups. You would not, I wish I had a picture of him now, man. You would not even recognize him. Transformation galore. Yeah, I felt pretty savage with that beard. You know, honestly, that was part of my defense. I was like, I don't know what prison's going to be like. I don't know if it's going to be scary or dangerous. I didn't know if it was like the question we had earlier where people are going to try to turn you out and make you their bitch in prison. But I was like, maybe if I go in really overweight, kind of dirty and scruffy looking with a grizzly looking beard, nobody would want to come near me. That was kind of my thinking, you know. Wasn't really a concern. And then while I was in prison, I was like, oh, I wonder how long I can keep growing the beard. And when I shaved it off, I did not even recognize myself in the mirror. I was like, who is that guy? I lost so much weight. My face was skinny. I did not recognize myself in the least. Bless this mess, Laura Jane. That's a long name. All right, bless this mess. I was fortunate. I was sentenced to 42 months out of a potential 60 months. It was part of the plea that I took. I was able to take Rdap, which knocked off a year. I also qualified and received 11 months halfway house. So I actually only served 13 months inside a federal prison. And then I served 11 months in a federal halfway house environment. So I was very lucky. Well, partial luck, partial. I never stopped working to try to figure out what I could do to shave off more time. Kind of how I got into what I'm doing. Figured if I could do it for myself, I could sure as hell teach other people how to do it for themselves, right? Did I make any friends in prison? Yes, a lot of good friends. I still got friends I talk to this day. I got friends on my Facebook. I got friends that I don't necessarily see. You know, I'm in Washington State. Most of them are in Florida, where I did my prison time at. But if I ever go back to Florida, which I probably will, I definitely will meet up with a couple of these guys. Josh was an amazing dude. He's on my Facebook. Dan, the guy I showed you in the picture. This dude Kashmir, another guy, Lee Hurd. These are all guys that I would trust with my kids. I would trust with my life. They're just like me or you. They made a mistake. They went to prison. Does not make them bad people. I shaved off my beard yesterday, 2 years growing, and I still feel naked. Yeah, that's crazy. With that beard, you look like you belonged in prison. Yeah, I can't even, I don't know why or how that, I've never had a beard in my life like that. I grew it specifically for prison. My husband is doing 60 months. Well, my heart goes out to you, bless this mess. He's doing 60 months. How long has he been in there for now? For those of you that weren't on earlier, this is actually a prison cup. This was my girlfriend's cup while she was in Coleman. This is a cup that you can buy on commissary. And then one of the ladies there actually jazzed it up for her with some acrylic paints and stuff like that. Gave him 9 months halfway house. Won't give him program due to gun charge. Will be coming out to the federal halfway house July 18th. Okay. Well, you got 9 months halfway house. That's not too shabby. There is, if you appeal properly and go to the case manager coordinator, bless this mess, not the case manager, but the case manager coordinator. They're not going to be in that prison. It's going to be at a different location off site. We can find out who it is if you want. We can look into that for you. But if you go to the case manager coordinator, you can possibly get some additional halfway house time for him if he's been out of trouble. And you know, and if you need some help with that, it's part of what we do. It's only 3 months, but 3 months is 3 months. So feel free to shoot me an email, text, all that good stuff. My phone number, guys, it's actually in the description on this, or it should be. If you have questions or anything, guys, you can always call or text me, 509-434-4695. Guys, I finally got a new setup for my little home office here. It's been driving me crazy. I've been doing everything from my laptop, trying to watch the video, type, read comments, things like that. So now finally I got it all set up. Here, you want to see? I'll show you guys, like the webcam here. So this is my new little setup. There we go. Let's look at what's going on. But yeah, so that's the new setup. If you guys have questions, you know, the best thing to do is call, text, email, man. That's all I can say is if you don't ask the questions, if you just sit there and you're freaking out about it and you're allowing yourself to go crazy and you're watching these videos, but you haven't gotten the cojones yet to call me. Most of you that have called me, I mean, I think I'm a pretty nice guy, pretty much the same person you're talking to on the video. Madrina Krista, get some sense of humor, please. What happened? What happened with Madrina? Daniel Turbe, get some manners. I don't ever want to hold one of those cups in my life. I like the cup. part of who I am. It has history, and I get it, Daniel. The cup's not for everybody, and but I wouldn't take that too serious, Madrina. The fun thing about coming in here and talking is everybody can comment, say whatever they want, as long as you guys aren't being rude to each other and being inappropriate, saying mean, nasty things. But jokes like that, Dan or Daniel Turbay, I don't know if you go by Dan, Danny, Daniel. Your name's Daniel, so I'll call you Daniel. To me, it doesn't bother me. I think it's humorous. And look, if you're not going to federal prison, I hope to God you never have to hold one of these cups. I hope these videos are not just, humorous and something for you guys to watch because you're bored. I hope you're thinking about this stuff when you're in life and you're wondering, going, shit, people have gotten to prison for what I'm about to think about doing, so hopefully this is creating some sense of pumping the brakes here and there. So I get what you're saying, Daniel. It's all good. So moving right along, what do you guys got going on? You guys have a nice weekend. I spent all weekend between being sick. I've been working on letters with one of our writers all weekend. We got a lot of letters that just came due. We got a few new clients that came on with a sense of urgency, literally probably should have came on a little bit sooner, but they came on soon enough to where we can still get some stuff done for them in time before sentencing. So guys, don't wait. I'm not saying don't wait to hire me. I'm saying don't wait to do whatever it is that you need to do if you're preparing to go to federal prison. And preparing doesn't just mean getting your letters ready. Preparing means getting your house ready, getting your finances ready, getting power of attorneys ready. It means a whole lot of other things. I know sometimes you're so overwhelmed where all you want to do is sit inside and, watch movies or do something to take your mind off of it. But at some point you got to focus. You got to take a realistic approach at these things got to get done. You can't let somebody else do it for you. You're going to wait till the last minute and you're not going to be properly prepared for prison. So take it serious. I got 2 months coming up very soon, but it's no problem. It's an open prison. I can creative. So you got to go into prison for 2 months? I can't believe they're making somebody go to prison for 2 months. What a waste of time. Bless this mess, Johnny, my husband did. Dan, is the relocation process different if you get sent to a prison without RDAP? No, it's easier. The only time that, look, I won't, if somebody wants to get redesignated to another prison, I won't, put it this way, you cannot hire me to help with the redesignation process unless it's because you got sent to a low when you're supposed to go to a camp, or you qualify for RDAP and they sent you to a prison that does not have RDAP. Then yes, you can hire me for a redesignation process. There are plenty of prison consultants out there that will take your money and say, yes, we'll redesignate you because you don't like the weather here and you want to go to this other prison for that specific reason. If you want to light your money on fire like that and give it to a prison consultant, by all means, give it to them. I won't take your money for redesignating you to a prison just because you don't like that prison. They're not going to redesignate you. Hate to say it, not going to happen. Unless you know somebody who knows somebody who has a connection with somebody, which is unlikely. There's a prison consultant out there, Rdap something, rdapdan or Rdap, not Rdap Law Consultants. They're another shitty company, but Rdap, I think it's just rdapdan. That guy tells clients he has a rabbi in his pocket and he can get people pushed around. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. If you're going to go use religion and manipulation to get yourself bumped around where you want to go, I can't help you with that. I don't have a rabbi in my pocket. I'm not going to lie. No rabbis, no priests, nobody in my pocket that's going to get you to where you want to go. But yes, I can help you go to a prison that has RDAP if you got sent to a prison that does not have RDAP. That absolutely yes. Call me up. We have a program for that. Did I miss anything else here? Can you submit it at sentencing with your character reference letters? Todd Hansen. I missed something. Do a personal narrative, Kevin. You still have time. Yeah, Kevin, me and you've been talking, man. We've been going back and forth, and I know you're getting some real information from your attorney, and I'm not going to step on your attorney's toes. I'm not going to tell you what he's telling you is wrong. But Kevin, we spoke about this, and I firmly believe if you put together a strong narrative and some strong character reference letters that have substance and power behind them, I believe it will make a difference in your situation. I know you've been told otherwise by your attorney, and I wish attorneys wouldn't give negative information like that, because these type of things can't hurt your situation. They can only help, but it can definitely hurt your situation to not have these things in place. So yeah, but character reference and personal narratives play bigger roles than just sentencing, guys. They play roles for later on for probation, early termination, halfway house, the type of prison you're going to go to, where, I mean, so many different purposes these serve. When you're only focused on what's right in front of your face because you can't see any farther and you got blinded somehow, you stop losing focus. You got to remember, this whole system is like a giant chess game. Stuff that you do right now can have super significance down the road. Super significance down the road. So by not putting certain pieces in place now, later on, you're going to think about it and you're going to wish you had did it, and wish, could have, should have is going to come to mind, and it's going to be too late. So if you have the ability and the necessary means to do so, make it happen. 0 to 20. Just read some of these comments. So we got 14 people in the room. The room is growing. The community is growing, guys. The channel's growing phenomenally. I could not be happier with look. Not only is my channel growing, it's not growing with bullshit subscribers and bullshit viewers. The subscribers and the viewers are interested in this topic, so it makes it a very niche industry, right? It's not like there's 50 million people out there getting ready to go to prison. It's a community of people for sure, but slowly by surely we are funneling them into a community that shares with others. And how much can we learn from other people? It's amazing. This is like hands-on preparation for federal prison, and I wish that this was available when I was going, because I cannot imagine. I can only imagine how this must be such a useful tool to you guys. God, if I could have went online 2 or 3 times a night and interacted with somebody that was just like, yeah, let's talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Let's talk about some real life prison stuff. Not shankings and how to make moon pies and how to make moonshine and, how to make a tattoo gun. That's all cool, fun stuff, like, interesting information, but it's not helping you get ready for prison. This is just really cool that there's such a cool community out there that's vibing on this. I love it. Love every single one of you guys. I did not have a cell, Daniel Turbe. When you're in a camp or a low, you're in like an open unit where, I wish I had pictures of this stuff. I wish we could have taken pictures in the dorm. But if you picture a big dorm with concrete cubes, and each cube held either 2 guys or 3 guys. And then you had your TV rooms. We had one massive TV room, and it was a big room. It was like the size of a small cafeteria that had maybe 8 TVs in it, like 42-inch flat screen TVs. Sounds horrible, right? About 8 flat screen TVs in each TV. You couldn't hear anything. You had to have your headphones on. They were silent TVs, and you turn your AM/FM radio into that channel, and boom, grab your chair, you sit down, and you watch your TV. There's some other smaller TV rooms where it would be like there was a Spanish room, there was a sports room, there was a music room where it was like music television, sports television. There was a news. Like I spent a lot of time watching American news, world news, whatever was going on, just keep up with current events. During the weekends, it was pretty good. Like Thursday through Saturday, they would usually play pretty newer movies. They had a Netflix subscription, so they would rent movies from Netflix. So they weren't super brand new movies, but they were pretty current, you know. And it was just kind of neat to be able to like get ready for your movie. You know, as soon as they call that move, and you know, like, all right, movie's coming on in an hour, I would always like bolt in there with my chair, get my stuff set up. So I like had my little spot in that corner, you know, next to a little metal table where I'd put my stuff, and I'd make my nachos for that night or get my ice cream ready. It was always cold in there, so I'd get all bundled up with my snow hat on, and I'd make my makeshift scarf, and I'd get ready for whatever movie. And they showed some really good movies in there. I can't complain about the movies, guys. I was usually happy with the movies. And even if I didn't like the movie, I just liked, you know, it kind of got you away in there. Some of the guards were cool. They let you turn the light off when you're in the movie room, so you're watching the movies in the dark. You know, you tend to forget you're in prison for a minute. You know, you escape watching a movie once or twice a week. So yeah, that was kind of cool. Open Bay, correct. What do you think of After Prison Show? Wolfpack, I'm a huge fan of After Prison Show. Huge, huge, huge fan. I think Joe at After Prison Show is fucking hilarious. I swear to God, I didn't steal this sweater from his show. I ordered the sweater. The day that it was arriving, I saw him on YouTube with a similar sweater. He's got his own YouTube sweater, but I didn't steal his idea. Not to say I wouldn't steal his idea. If he's got a good idea, why not? But I love his content. It's funny. It's hilarious. It's completely the opposite of what I do. He's talking more on like what's going on in state prisons, tattoo guns, shanks, funny shit people find on eBay. Look, hands down, the guy has an amazing talent for what he does. I would love to do something with him. Maybe someday when my YouTube channel is big enough, he'll notice me and he'll want to do a little collaboration with me. But yeah, I love him. I love Prison Talk with Big Herc, in case you guys haven't watched him. Look, man, I am not a hater on anybody that's out there that's look, if people are watching it, it's because it's funny, it's good information, it's good content. People are drawn to prison-related topics for sure. It's a taboo subject, and to be able to talk to somebody that's been there, he's got some crazy stories. He's got crazy stories. And if you watch his very first video, like when he first started to where he is now, not just subscribers, but just how much more professional he's gotten with what he does. The guy puts on a good show, man. And look, it's his life. It's what he does. As somebody that has that much love and that much passion to do something, for anybody out there that wants to go talk bad about somebody like that, you're on the wrong channel, because it's a community of people helping people. Different strokes for different folks. My community is a niche market. Yes, it's also about prison. Joe's channel is about prison, but my channel is more about preparing for first-time offenders that are getting ready to go to federal prison, that don't know what it's like, don't know what to expect. They want to know what it's like at a camp. They want to know what it's like at a low. They want to know what they can do to shave time off of their sentence. They want to know tips and tricks that they can do to prepare better for prison. These are the type of topics that I stick to. Joe has a whole different topic and subject that he does, but it's equally as important, and I am a fan. I probably watch his stuff more than I watch my own stuff. So yeah, I'm a big YouTuber. I watch all kinds of YouTube stuff. I watch PewDiePie. I watch Daryl Eves. I watch the other prison consultants out there. I watch, you know, I want to know my competition. Look, hands down, prison consulting wise, I'm not going to lie. I think that I have just as much to offer as a prison consultant as any other prison consultant in the market. I will go out on a limb and say I have every tool necessary. I can do anything that anybody else can do. But I say what separates me from other prison consultants is I let you guys know that the real deal is this. This is what I can do. This is what I can't do. We have organic, real conversations. I'm not here trying to sell you a service right now. I'm here trying to give those of you that can't go to sleep at midnight or 10 o'clock at night, they can't fall asleep because you've got crazy anxiety keeping you awake. Will clients come to me through these videos? Absolutely. Am I happy they're going to come to me? Absolutely. Would I do this if I was not getting clients? Abso-freaking-lutely. I love what I do. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that I can make a living at it. I've already told you guys that. So there you go. Have you ever seen any bodybuilders or homosexuals in prison? Wolfpack, yes, I have. I've seen both. I've seen bodybuilders. I've seen a lot of homosexuals. I was at Coleman, where the Puerto Rican population is real big in Coleman. That's like, you know, in South Florida, Central Florida, or like here in Washington, for example, when you have the Spanish here is mostly Mexican. In Florida, it's mostly Puerto Ricans. And there was a lot, I don't know why there were so many homosexual Puerto Ricans in Coleman, but there was a lot of them there, a lot of them, straight from the island, because they don't have a federal prison in Puerto Rico. So when you're in Puerto Rico and you catch a charge, and a federal charge, and you have to go serve your federal sentence, they can't send you anywhere. So they got to send you to a federal prison in the States. And a lot of them got shipped to Coleman. And a lot of them were homosexuals. I mean, there was this one that used to walk the yard, and I swear to God, it looked like a female. I mean, long hair, curly hair, lips, the whole thing. It looked like a female. Not that I was looking to buy or anything like that. I'm just saying that it was on the street. I would have been convinced that that was a female. There wouldn't have been any signs. But yeah, there was a lot of homosexuals in there. Not homosexuals where like they're off on the corner, you know, walking the track, getting it on, or in the horseshoe pit having sex, or I didn't see anybody getting raped or anything like that. But there's plenty of homosexuals in there. Just like anywhere you go. You're in school, you got homosexuals. You're at the job place, you got homosexuals. You're in the military, you got homosexuals. Homosexuals are just like anybody else. They get in trouble too. They make mistakes and they go to prison. They, you know, I had plenty of friends in there that was homo. Look, I have nothing against homosexuals. Some of my best friends are lesbians. My very best friend in the entire world is a lesbian, and it was the first girl that I ever had a crush on in my entire life that was more than just a crush. I was madly in love with this girl. And today, she's an amazing person. She's got an amazing career. She's got an amazing wife. She's got an amazing family, and she's a lesbian. But, you know, who cares? But yeah, they were there all the time. There was a lot of, you know, a lot of openly gay people in prison for sure. When it's 2 a.m. and you're about to slit your wrist, Dan, will you take a call? Of course. Even though they're not going to let you use the phone at 2 a.m., Todd, so you better find another way to cope with slitting your wrist at 2 a.m. in prison, because they won't let you use the phone at 2 a.m. Phones go off at 10 p.m. Dan, I read in the camp handbook about furloughs. They seem to make a big deal about furloughs, but furloughs are only for death in the family, isn't it? Look, mostly even with deaths in the family, they're not letting you go on furloughs unless it's real local. I saw people that lost their mothers that didn't get to go on furloughs. So do not get your hopes on a furlough. Just because furloughs are available, they have to be approved. There's got to be, I mean, they may not approve furloughs. I used to see a lot of people very, very down and out. I saw people that lost children. There was a guy in there that lost his daughter to a rape. His daughter was murdered and raped. Wouldn't let him go on a furlough. And we all like wrote letters, please, 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 would not let him go on a furlough. They let him go to the chaplain's office and have an extra long phone call. That was it. So don't count on any furloughs, guys. Camps may be a little more lenient on furloughs. I don't know. If Shelly was here right now, I'd ask her, but she actually had to go to work for a little bit. She should be home soon, though. What time is it? Actually, she's probably just getting off now. If I was going to prison, I would definitely hire you before anyone else. Thanks, Dan. I'll slide the $10 through PayPal. No, that's awesome. You know, and that's that. Look, those are the comments that I live for. Guys, I get amazing emails. I should start reading like the amazing email of the week. I get emails that literally bring me to tears because they're so genuine from you guys and how I've touched somebody's life that I do not know. And more so than not, it's usually like a mother, a father. I've even had a couple of kids, like teenage kids that email me that say that they don't even tell their father that's going to prison that they're watching my videos because they don't know how to talk to him. But after watching my videos, they've learned how to cope with what he's going through to help him cope with what. So guys, however I reach you guys, it's amazing to me that through this simple process of turning on my webcam and turning on some lights so you guys can see me, it has blown my mind the kind of impact that we are able to have on each other's lives. Amazing. Have you ever seen the story of, yes, I have. I did. I saw his story first on Prison Talk on Big Herc Show, I think. But yes, I have. That dude's a monster. Monster. Not a monster in a like bad way. I mean a monster like fucking Hulkamania monster. Brother. Thanks, Dan. Got to watch the rest tomorrow. Got to get up early for work, and I'm on the East Coast. Good video tonight. All right, Brian James. Signing off, Brian. All right, enjoy that East Coast. I miss it. And, you know, this video is probably about to get wrapped up. That man holds himself sideways from vertical pull. Yeah, I've seen it. Isn't that crazy? You saw him do that on the train, right? Where he's doing sideways on the train. I can't. I mean, I can do that, but I weigh 185 pounds. That guy is, you know, a walking muscle. Yeah, he's funny. Look, there's so many good videos out there to watch, guys. YouTube is an amazing source of information, an amazing source of entertainment. It can be an amazing source of waste of time too. Don't get me wrong. I'll sit there and watch prank videos religiously, like one after another. It's probably going, oh my God, I just wasted half my afternoon watching a guy put shampoo in somebody's hair. Have you guys seen the video where forgot his name, but he's at the beach and people go to the little showers at the beach to rinse off, and they're rinsing off and they're putting shampoo in their hair, and he sneaks up behind them and he puts shampoo in their hair and they're trying to rinse it out, and he keeps doing it and they don't know that he's doing it, and they just think shampoos, and they're just losing their mind. If you haven't done that, you should YouTube shampoo prank. I thought it was funny. What was your job in the low, Dan? And talk a little about jobs. Madrina. Okay, jobs in the low. My job in the low. First off, jobs in a prison are going to depend on what kind of jobs are at that prison. But most jobs or most prisons are going to have like facilities where you have like electrical, when stuff breaks throughout the prison, somebody needs the painting, electricity, plumbing. They've got all those types of jobs. That's usually facilities that are going to have those jobs. Those are usually some of the higher paying jobs that you're going to have, because most of those jobs are 8-hour-a-day jobs. You have actually service orders. You're going out. The longer you've been there, the higher rank you are. Like if you're a stage 1 or stage 2, you know, you might make upwards close to $100 a month, like best. Then they've got like just jobs, just because they got to find jobs for people in there, right? So they've got bullshit jobs too. Like, well, you got the kitchen, of course. The kitchen's a legit job. You've got kitchen where whether you're cleaning in the kitchen, whether you're cooking, prepping food, there's all kinds of kitchen jobs, and probably 50 people work in the kitchen. You know, kitchen's a massive industrial line going on of just something's always going on. There's cooking, there's prepping, there's people on the line handing out the food, there's people coming around cleaning the tables when someone gets up and leaves. So yeah, there's massive jobs in the kitchen. So you got kitchen, you've got facilities, then you've got like clerk jobs, where I was trying to get a clerk job, but I wasn't there long enough to get it. But you can get like a job in the law library, where you work in the clerk's office, where you know you're organizing books, you're coming up with study plans, you're coming up with ideas. Where you know you got people working in accounting and receiving, where they're helping with payroll for the prison system. You know, all different kinds of crazy jobs that you probably can't even imagine. They've got and then like a job I was in Rdap. And a lot of my day was taken up by Rdap. Rdap wants you to have a job if you're in Rdap. So I ended up taking a bullshit job sweeping the compound every Saturday and Sunday. It wasn't a glorified job, but it was a very easy job, and it required an hour a day Saturday, and an hour a day, or an hour Saturday and an hour Sunday. I'd get up in the morning, go to breakfast. After I finished breakfast, I'd grab my broom and go around, sweep up the compound for an hour, and be done. That was my job. I think it paid like $9 a month or something like that, something crazy. But when you're in a camp, a lot of those jobs, those jobs are manual laborious jobs. If you're in a camp, chances are you're probably going to be mowing grass, weed eating. You're going to be doing some kind of manual labor outside. The cool jobs that everybody wants in a camp, like if there's clerk jobs there, you're going to be on a waiting list for those. So when you just get to the camp, count on getting a bullshit job outside, manual laboring. My girlfriend Shelly, when she got to the camp, I used to see her out on the riding lawnmower. She's riding on this big giant John Deere looking thing that would go 15, 20 miles an hour, cutting grass, weed eating, running the blower, outside all day long under the sun. Camps are known for work to be called work camps. So you're going to work your ass off at a camp. How many hours a day did you work? What was the average amount of hours a day? I worked 2 hours a week, but depending on the job you have, if you have like a facilities job, you might be working 6 to 8 hours a day. Some jobs might be 3 or 4 hours a day. My buddy that worked in the law library, he worked actually in the law library checking out computers when people want to come use the computers. His job was to check it out, sign you out to the computer. If you need to do some research, we'd help you with research. He worked like 4 or 5 hours a day in the law library every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekend. So it really depends on what you're looking for. If you need money, you can find a job or 2 jobs and you can work all day. If money is not an issue for you, you probably don't want to take a good job because you want to reserve that job for somebody that really needs that $40 or $50 a month to be able to buy commissary, be able to buy hygiene. You know, so that's who the good jobs are kind of reserved for, is for the people that fucking need them. Let the conversation flow naturally. How many hours a day? Oh yeah, I saw those videos, laugh aloud, mad funny. You can make most money in the kitchen, I heard, by stealing the food, selling it for commissary. Daniel Turbay, you're absolutely right. If you're working in the kitchen and you're willing to run a hustle, yeah. If you're willing to steal eggs and steal chicken and steal milk, you know, cheese, pretty much anything you can steal out of the kitchen. If you're meat, salamis, if you're willing to steal that stuff, it sells. Like a chicken, they call them chicken bombs. A chicken bomb is like a plastic glove filled with chicken. That would probably sell for between $7 to $10 of commissary, depending on who's buying it and who's selling it. Cheese, things that you can't normally get, they have just high market value because it's hard to come by. But if you're an Rdap, like I knew dudes that were in Rdap that would not work in the kitchen. They knew it was too much going on in order for you to get by in the kitchen. And because look, if you work in the kitchen, somebody's always going to ask you, hey man, hook me up, I'll give you this, I'll split this with you, I'll have money put on your books. You just got temptation being thrown at you. And if you know your weakness for temptation, don't get a job at the kitchen, because that's high temptation in the kitchen. I never wanted to work in the kitchen because those guys worked their asses off, and I was happy with using my time for what I wanted to do, working out, exercising, reading, taking classes. I didn't need to go work in the kitchen 80 hours a week. How can I get out of getting a job? Are you going to a camp, Madrina? Run a hustle like that. I like that. Run a hustle. Yeah, I don't want to run no hustle in prison. I stayed away from hustles. The only hustle I had was credit repair. Madrina, you're going to a camp. Yeah, you might, unless you got some severe medical issues that says like you're like you can't do anything. And long for a year and a day. Unless you got some severe medical conditions that say you can't work manual labor, then you're going to get a job. There's no getting out of it. And if you do get some manual labor papers saying, some medical papers saying that you can't get a job, don't plan on doing anything fun out on the rec yard or on the compound, because man, first time they catch you like doing something you're not supposed to do, you're going to get in some shit. So I would say suck it up and just do the job. I mean, everybody else there is going to be doing them. Just jump in. You'll get into a routine. Shelly ended up loving it. She said she'd be out there riding the lawnmower with her headphones on. Just felt you feel kind of free. So don't stress it. And look, and if people like you there and you do what you got to do, you might be able to move into a better job. But just don't give them no grief. When they try to give you a job, if you give them grief, trust me, they're going to make you hate that job that much more. Interesting. Very interesting. I was all about, I thought I was going to be like the hustle king. And when I got there, I read that book right there, Awaken the Giant Within. And man, my whole way of thinking immediately like shifted and changed and made me second guess my entire life. Bricks? What are we talking about, Daniel Turbay? Bricks. Ah, Dan, you like bricks. I'm not sure what bricks we're speaking of. Prison bricks? Like a ramen and chips bricks? Chips brick? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Shelly's home. I can hear my dogs wooing. I hear her car alarm go off. You hear him barking? You hear him howling? That's what they do. They know mama's home. I wasn't a big ramen noodles guy. I didn't really get too caught up in like I mean, look, I went all out about making prison food, but I was making good stuff. Everyone else was making these fattening pizzas. I was making tuna fish pizzas. I mean, I ate really, really clean and healthy in prison, guys. That's how I lost all my weight. I was like a health nut in prison. Chips and soup. I stayed away from that. Didn't do the chips and soup. I mean, I know plenty of people that do. I know how to make some of the most bomb casseroles you can imagine making. And from time to time, yeah, I would make them. I'd make burritos and everything else, pizzas, all the fun stuff. But only once a week. The rest of the week was beans and tuna and protein and a little bit of brown rice and my eggs, my milk, things like that. That was it. That's all I ate. That's all, I lived on it. And I found ways to make it taste really good. Like you crusted chips and ramen mix. Daniel Turbay's got some county jail prison concoction going on right there. Trust me, when you get to prison, federal prison, there's way more than just the chips and bricks, what you like to call it. Just ramen soup and chips, that's county, and maybe some state prisons. The feds, they do it big time. They make casserole dishes. They make cakes. They'll take, the flour tortillas. They'll get those all wet, and they'll make one big flour tortilla. They'll cook it in the microwave. They'll put pizza toppings on this thing, and when it's done, it looks like they got this thing from like Papa John's or Pizza Hut. I mean, amazing. Strombolis. Trust me, because beans and tuna, yuck. Yeah, beans and tuna and mackerel. I mean, I ate other stuff too, but that was my go-to was my tuna fish. Tuna fish. I had plantains. I had garlic plantains. I loved the plantains. I used to crunch up the plantains. I'd make a crust out of them. I've made some of the best cheesecakes you guys could ever imagine in federal prison. Who would have thought? But yeah, so anyway, guys, anybody else got any amazing questions they want to ask that's helping you prepare for federal prison? I know, Madrina, you must be a little nervous, and it's going to be okay. I promise. You're going to get in there. Do you know what camp you're going to yet, Madrina? Madrina Krista. Yes, it's some county shit. Yes, it is. You still with us, Madrina? Dublin. Okay, you're going to Dublin. Dublin's not so bad. Have you done your homework and research on Dublin? Yes, Daniel. Prison pizza definitely compares to real pizza if it's made right. One day we'll make you a federal prison pizza so you can see what I'm talking about. Dublin's not too bad, Madrina. Pretty sure I got a client right now that's in Dublin. You should be fine. You know, and if you got some specific questions about Dublin, feel free to shoot me a call, text, or email, or whatever. And I've got some pretty good resourceful guides that I can pull up, give you some additional insight, some information. But the big thing is a year and a day, 7 months in, you'll probably be leaving to go to the halfway house. So you're going to be hauling ass before you get there. On Google Earth, there's no trees, a track that I can see, or a track. A lot of camps don't have tracks. A lot of camps are just smaller, not as many people. So even though there's no track, there's still going to be an area for walking, even if it's just a compound. Most compounds are a decent size to where you get in a routine and you start walking. I used to walk the inside of the compound, and I'd also go walk on the track. Our track was a half a mile, so I mean that was obviously a benefit. But when they would close the yard and only the compound was open, we would still get a good walk in on the outside of the compound. So there's plenty of stuff you'll be able to do. 320 girls. Dublin is a possible for me as well, since I'm in Chicago. Yes, but I think does Dublin have a? I don't think Dublin has a men's camp, does it? I thought it was just a females camp in Dublin. I'd have to double check that one. Well, Kevin, you got some options. Well, guys, starting to feel a little extra tired. Time for some more medicine for me. Oh, there's Einstein. Hi, Einstein. Guys, Einstein's going to come say hello. All right, so this is Einstein. In case you guys haven't met Einstein, he just went outside and went pee-pee. He's going to get a biscuit. Einstein says it's bedtime for me. So there means. Hi, Shelly. Well, guys, are you on the phone? She's on the phone. Looked at me like I'm all crazy. Well, I'm going to take off here, guys. I hope you have an amazing night. Me and Einstein are, you know what, I'm going to go watch The Walking Dead. I didn't watch The Walking Dead last night, so I think I'm going to go enjoy The Walking Dead. Hope you guys have an amazing night. Daniel Wise and Dan what? All right, guys, have yourself a great night, and I will talk to you guys. Remember, today's Monday, so Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Mark it on your calendar, because we'll be live then too. We'll have some more cool topics to talk about. All right, guys. Yeah, Einstein is that flexible. He's like a giraffe. All right, guys. rdapdan, subscribe, like, share, all that fun stuff. Keep it real. rdapdan. Good night.